Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Breaking news, Barba223 build video coming out again. So today we're going to be doing a Magic Templar. Not only a Magic Templar, but a ranged mage Magic Templar. Yes, you heard it right. There's no biting jabs. Uh-oh. There's no gap closer. Uh-oh. But this build slaps. It claps. It does it all, brother. This build is amazing. I love it. If you want to be able to shred people 1v1, line up a burst combo for the heavens, then you will love this build. Using light and fire and meteors and magic damage and the God Jesus beam of radiant destruction itself, this build is for you. It's fast, it's tanky, it has a crap ton of spell damage. I'm talking 7,000. It has so much resistance, it has so much pure damage. It's a great build. I love it. And not to mention, I've gotten about 50 hate messages from this build. Some guy called me a pathetic player because then he said I apologize because this build is so good. We have now become friends. As always, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I hope you enjoyed the gameplay. It's just a small clip as to what this build can do. So without any further ado, let's get into it. Ranged Magic Templar. What? Let's do it. Character screen. Now, I want to mention before I go into anything else, this build has multiple different setups that we can use. I am going to go over my number 1 favorite setup, my number 2 favorite setup, and my number 3 favorite setup. I don't have, now, I want to mention there is one piece of gear that I am yet to get because I can't farm it, but it is what it is. I will show you a replacement and I'll show you what I'm using instead. So, we have 25k magic, almost 34k health, almost 20k stamina. That might seem like a lot of stamina on a pure magic build, but being able to break out, being able to block every now and then, and being able to roll dodge are very, very important in my opinion. And also, we are an orc, so we get extra sprint speed, so I like to have the extra stamina to sprint. Very, very useful in my opinion. Yeah, I think it's a must. So we have 3,500 spell damage. This spell damage gets buffed up to 7k, like I mentioned. If you do use Balor, it's even higher than that. It's insane. The critical, I believe, goes up to 35%, 33%, something like that. The penetration is 4,000, but I don't really care. It's amazing as it is, and the penetration can jump much higher if we do use Balor. The reason I'm saying if we use Balor is because currently I'm not using Balor, but it's okay. So resistances, we're at 28k and 26k. Amazing. Templar is super tanky and can avoid a lot of damage, heal. It's really good, so it doesn't matter. Our recovery is almost 1,300 as it is, but it goes up to well over 2k when we're fully buffed because our restoring focus is going to give 400 recovery, and then we get more when we pop a potion. So there's not much to complain about there. I mean, just buffed up with this, we're at 440, almost 4,200. And then we get entropy, it's almost like 4,700. And then we go on our back bar, get our glyph, that's another 340. And then we get our misform, which is another 300. And then we get our clever alchemist. So, yeah, so much damage. The crit resist is 1,300. Not great, not bad, you know, okay. So again, like I said, we're an orc. Orc is freaking fire, low key. Don't sleep on the orc, dude. I love it. Gives you max stamina. It's okay for a magic build, but it's not going to really do much. The max health is nice, and you get 2,200 health when you do damage every 4 seconds, so you're basically getting 500 health every second. That's it. 500 health a second, if you want to do the math. And then we get 258 weapon and spell damage, reduce the cost of sprint, and increase your movement speed by 10%. Like I said, that's really clutch because we're very fast as a Templar, and yeah. Yeah. So the gear, we can just get into the gear here. We're using the Atronach, and we are a Vampire Stage 3. I think it's a must. I really do. Oh. And Bewitched Sugar Skulls. With gear. On the front bar, we are using Mechanical Acuity. A flame staff is very, very important. Number 1, almost all your skills are single target except meteor, so not a big deal. Your spammable single target, your finisher single target. Technically your dot is single target, entropy single target, and javelin is single target, so very good. Now we are using precise, and I'm not even gonna lie to you, I think precise is my favorite trait right now. Especially on a Templar, you get 10% crit damage, so really good. And then on mechanical acuity, that set's based around critting, so you're going to get better crit bonuses for that. You get like a million trillion critical percent chance. You're getting like guaranteed crits essentially. And yeah, I mean, it gives you know, the 7% crit chance. It's really nice. I really, really like it. So even when your mechanical acuity is on its downtime, you're still going to crit a crap ton with the 10% extra. It's really good in my opinion. I'm not going to lie. I'm a big fan of Precise. I'm a big fan of it. I know Sharpen's probably better. I don't like Nernhoned. I really don't. I just don't like it. I don't know what it is. I'm not a fan of Nernhoned unless you're using it on a one-handed weapon. That's just how I feel. But I'm a huge fan of Precise right now and Sharpened. So either one of them is going to be great options now. Like I said, a Flame Staff is really important because we do utilize a lot of heavy attacks because we get Empower on essentially 100% uptime with our Dark Flare. So we have max stamina, we get max magicka, we get spell damage, and then like here we get, when you deal crit damage, when you do non-crit damage, you gain a stack of acuity for 4 seconds, granting you 20% per stack, up to once every 1 second, stacking up to 5 times. So just so you know, this lasts a lot longer than you think because each, like, let's say stack or level of acuity is 20%, right? So let's say that first stack of it with the extra 20% lasts for 3 seconds, and then you get the next stack. That one lasts for 3 seconds. Then you get the next stack. That one will last for 3 seconds. And then when you get the final stack, again, 3 seconds. So this set can essentially last for, well, it goes up to 5 times. So 5 times 4 is 20. So in an ideal world, this set could last 20 seconds, and you get an insane amount of time of high crit chance. But in a more realistic sense, you're probably not going to get that max stack all the time, only because, like, once you get up to 2 or 3 stacks, it's really difficult to deal non-crit damage because your crit chance is so high. So reaching that maximum stack will be increasingly difficult. But if you do reach that maximum stack, this set lasts for a really long time. So basically, like, you almost want to do a little bit of non-crit damage when you're building your stacks up because it will last longer. But yeah, which is, some people may argue using Precise is worse because then your crit's higher. But I think it's really good. So just think about it that way. Although it has a long cooldown, the set could essentially last much longer because each stack itself can last 4 seconds. So it can be extended by 20 seconds. This set is incredible on a Templar, especially because we have planned timed burst. So being able to time it and, you know, get everything right is really crucial. So basically lining up your burst with your meteor, potentially bow org or whatever you want to use on your monster set along with acuity can really burst people down. I was doing people the other day and people were like, what are you using, dude? Like, your build is crazy. Like, I've never seen a ranged Templar really, you know, be used like that. I was like, you know, pretty good, but we'll move on. Again, make sure you use Inferno Staff. So on the back bar, we're using Clever Alchemist. A Berserker enchant is the best, and then I think Powered's the best. I mean, I think Defending's okay, Decisive's okay, but Powered is really, really good. Especially on Templar, you get 8%. You get Minor Mending pretty much all the time. You get this all the time, so then you're getting like 17% healing like all the time. So Clever's great because it gives that 2 lines of max health, and then when you switch to the back bar, you get that extra weapon and spell damage, and then when you drink a pot, you get a Rush of Energy, increasing your weapon and spell damage by 675 for 20 seconds. And shout out to Magoogan for crafting this set. So this is really good. Great back bar set because you just make, as long as you use your pot on your back bar, there's really nothing to worry about. So for a monster set, we're right now, like I said, we aren't using Balrog at the moment, but we are using Valken Scoria. Main reason is because I have multiple dots on the build. I have 3 dots technically. So, you know, I was kind of a fan of it. It's hitting hard-ish. You know, it's like 772, 7300 when I'm fully buffed up. It hits in an AoE. It's okay. It procs pretty much all the time. You know, right when it's up, it procs. But I will say, maybe for lining up your burst, Balrog's a little better. But I am a fan of the Valken Scoria. Now, if you are, what I want to do is replace Valken Scoria and get Kaljar's Nightmare. I believe that's how you say it. Kaljar's Nightmare will be really good because you're going to proc the damage or the stun based on whatever's happening with just light attacks. So I think that's really, really good. Being able to have Kaljar's Nightmare would probably be the better option, or Magma Incarnate. So my favorite 4, probably Magma, Kaljar's Nightmare, and Balrog or Valken Scoria. But Balrog's the best for planned burst, but you know, the uptime's obviously not 100%. It's okay, but the nice thing about Balrog is you're going to get that extra spell damage even if you use your Resto ult. So it doesn't matter what kind of ultimate you use, you still get that bonus. So I think that's a really good, you know, really good thing to build. So again, we're using Clever Alchemist, you know. Ideally you want heavy helm, heavy chest, heavy legs, heavy feet, maybe even heavy shoulders, whatever, but typically want to use 5 heavy, 1 medium, 1 light, ideally. We are using mechanical acuity again on the body, mixture of impen, a mixture of well fitted, and then you want reinforced on the big pieces. I use triglyphs on the big pieces as well, except for the helm right now. You know, it is again up to you, but that's how I feel about the armor. And then on the the necklace and rings, we're using 1 piece of trainee with infused to get the extra recovery, and then we have Ring of Majesty as our mythic. Now, if you don't have Ring of Majesty, the another option is Death Dealer's Feet, or if you really want to, you could use Sea Serpent and then use a trainee ring. But I really wasn't a fan of Sea Serpent on this specific build because we're really based on being ranged and keeping the distance. Although Sea Serpent has a shit ton of damage, it's better to keep that distance and not be snared when you're trying to get away with your misform or just your orc sprinting speed, you know, etc. So I found it better to use Ring of Majesty for that flat flat mitigation and that flat spell damage. Death Dealer is a very good option. You could drop Bewitched Sugar Skulls and use a double stat food for magic and health, and then you'll be able to get your extra stamina from Death Dealers. But Ring of Majesty is really nice. Just seeing that extra armor makes me feel a lot more secure. So. And then we have Mechanical Acuity with Bloodthirsty. I do a mixture. I do 1 recovery, I do 1 reduced cost, and then I do 1 spell damage. So that's just how I feel. If you're going to do another setup, your other choices here is Soulshine. Soulshine's a really good set, especially for this exact build, because when you use a cast time or a channel time, you get 356 weapon and spell damage. That's literally going to be your spammable and your radiant destruction. So really, really nice skill, or really, really nice set there. So that's an extra 356 spell damage. Now I like the crit more, but that's just how I feel. And Soulshine comes in all heavy, so you'd essentially be running all heavy armor. So I think that's the second best option. And then last but unfortunately the least, Order's Wrath is another nice set. You get a lot of crit chance when I use this, and I had a precise staff on. I had a 50% crit chance as it was. So, like, you know, you're considering, do I want to run Order's Wrath with the 50% crit chance or use Mechanical Acuity to get those guaranteed crits? I like Mechanical Acuity better, but this one's a nice set. Unfortunately, I feel like it's a bit wasted on the front bar only because you get crit damage and crit heals, but you obviously don't really get much from the healing if you're just using it on your front bar. I guess essentially if you're using a heal over time, it would work, because if you use Rapid Regen or Purifying Light or even your Restoring Focus, it would benefit you on the front bar because the crit would hit harder. But, you know, overall, I feel like it's not really worth it. Don't get me wrong, I really like seeing those big, beefy crits, because you're basically getting almost 20% crit damage at all times, based on the Templar passive and Order's Wrath 5-piece, but I don't think it's nearly as good as Mechanical Acuity. Getting that crazy crit bonus is very, very nice. So this is definitely the #1 setup. Mechanical Acuity being 1, Soulshine probably being 2 for the flat damage, and then 3 is Order's Wrath. So that's how I feel about the sets, and that's the gear. I also, to keep in mind, these stats are a little bit off. They would be a lot better if I get my Undaunted up, but I'm a lazy crap, and I haven't felt like grinding dungeons, so yeah, I will get my Undaunted there. I'm almost there. I think I'm like 7 or something, or 6. I don't know, but I'll get there eventually. So the skills. Now on the front bar, like I said, we're using Javelin. Now this skill is actually incredible, low-key. It's kind of like a range Fossilize. You hurl your spear. It's a 22-meter range. It hits 4,200 and knocks people back 8 meters. So not only does it stun to line up your burst, but it knocks people back to keep your distance because you are a ranged build. Now, this ability ignores resistances and also cannot be blocked. That is amazing. The reason that is so good is because your entire build is going to be focused around the Ice Comet, Dark Flare, Radiant Glory setup. So when you use Meteor, most people just throw up their block and try to block out Meteor and tank it out. But if you use your Meteor at the right time and wait for the proc, you can throw Javelin and literally kill them without even them having a choice. So that's really, really nice. It also does a good amount of damage. I've hit people with 7-8k with it on a crit because it does a lot more damage when you're further away from them. So if you get the max range of like 20 to 22 meters, you're doing 40% extra damage. So really, really good. Really, really good. Again, like when you use your Meteor, you wait for it. Right before it's about to hit, you use the Javelin and boom, it does a crap ton of damage. So really good. Then we're using Degeneration for our spell damage. Again, another dot that's going to help proc Falcon Scoria. It does a decent amount of damage, and it also you know, gives you your spell damage. And then we're using Reflective Light. This skill is a give or take skill. It's not great. It's not that bad. But I think overall it's definitely worth using because it does AoE. It gives you your crit chance. And it does a decent amount of damage as well. And on top of it, it snares. So being able to get, you know, a little bit of damage, a little bit of dot damage, a snare, and a crit, and all in one skill, it's really good. The dot's a little underwhelming. It ticks for like 500, 600, 700 each tick, but it's worth it for all the other benefits you get of it. And I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, you get a lot of ultimate regen from this, so it's not too bad. It's definitely worth using. I tried using Purifying Light instead, but I really don't care for it. It's only one person, and I just like Reflective Light a lot better. It keeps the pressure up. If you have Degeneration and Reflective Light hitting people at the same time, it really is a lot of pressure. They're getting like 1200 damage a second probably. Like, it's pretty good. So we're using Radiant Glory. You can just use the other morph if you want. What's the other morph? Radiant Destruction. I mean, it changes from 480 extra damage to 500%. Like, it's not that much of a difference. I like this one because it gives a little bit of a heal. This build, this is another thing the build offers. Like, you're very valuable just for this skill alone. It's incredible. You know, one single tick when someone's low health can do 10, 15k. Like, it's ridiculous. It's such a good skill. If you're playing BGs or like a higher, let's say a bigger scale fight, dude, you just freaking look for the low health guy, use Radiant, and you're getting the kills. Like, it's insane. So it's a really good skill. Obviously, it's a must, especially on a range build. So yeah. And then we are also using Dark Flare as our spammable. So, you know, our spell damage is pretty good here. So this is it gets up to 10k almost as our tooltip. Now it does have a 0.8 cast time. It's essentially like snipe almost for a magic build, but this one applies major defile, so your spammables lowering their healing received by 16%, and it also increases your heavy attack and light attack damage by 40%. So you're getting that for 5 seconds. So ideally, I don't really have anything to hit at the moment, but I'll explain really quick. So really what you want to do, let's say you do have your meteor ready. You want to hit them with light attack and then degeneration, light attack, reflective light, light attack, dark flare, and then after your dark flare, you're going to want a heavy attack because you have that empower up. And then right after your heavy attack, you can use another dark flare if you want, and then you're going to pop your meteor. And then when you see the circle on the screen right before the meteor hits, drop your javelin on them, and then you use radiant destruction, and that will kill people. So again, the rotation really isn't that bad. Like, I use it in duels and BGs, and it kills people. You just degeneration, light attack, reflective light, light attack, dark flare. Then you go into a heavy attack, and then you can use your meteor, use your javelin, and you will destroy people. Very good combos. Now in the back bar, we're using channeled focus. This skill is an absolute must. It's a heal. It gives you minor mending when you're in the area. It lasts for 25 seconds. It's super cheap, and it gives you 480 recovery. Crazy good crazy good skill. It's a must. You gotta have it. Here's Extended Ritual. This skill is amazing, getting a little bit of a nerf next patch by being increased of a cost, but it's okay. It's a nice heal. It's a nice cleanse. It's a nice synergy for your teammates. Very, very good skill. It's a must. Radiating Regen. You could use Rapid Regen. It's up to you, but I'm using Radiating because, well, I hate when my teammates get my rapid regen away from me, and it also feels good to see higher healing numbers in BGs, so I really like Radiating Regen. Great skill. It is getting nerfed next patch. You might want to switch to Living Dark. That was another thing I was going to mention. Living Dark is another good option instead, but it's a little bit expensive, although it does last longer. So, you know, that's completely up to you. Honor the Dead, probably the best burst heal in the game. Insanely good. It heals extra because of your lower health, based on your lower health, because of a passive here. Increases the healing effects from restoring light abilities up to 12% based on your wounds. So if you're lower health, you're going to freaking... I've healed for like 12k in BGs just for one, so it's really good. And it restores a lot of the magic just from using it. So you're, you know, the skill basically comes really cheap because you get almost like 20% of the cast every 2 seconds, so really good. And then lastly, we're using Elusive Mist. Now, for multiple reasons, not only do you get the movement speed, it's really cheap. You can basically run around in this forever. Like, look, if you have Restoring Focus up and then you use your Mist, like, look, your magic doesn't move. I mean, it does, but, like, look how much you can run around. It takes forever. So, really good. And And another thing I do in my rotation a lot, so let's say I'm like, you know, light attack and reflective light, dark flare, this, that, and the other. A lot of times I'll switch to my back bar, pop this, and just go right back to my front bar. Because one, you might get lucky and avoid a really big damage skill, but also you use a vampire passive. Right here, when you leave sneak, you do 300 extra spell damage for 6 seconds. So you're just adding spell damage to your build for free. So I'll just use this, I'll randomly just throw this in all the time because it's 600 and you just bang, so much spell damage. So... really good. Really, really good skill. I'll never get rid of it. I thought I was going to use Race Against Time, but this skill is so much better. It's so much better. It's so good. But yeah, and then we're using Light's Champion for extra extra crit damage and extra heals. So that's what I'm using in terms of the skills, the gear, the character screen, etc. CP, I'll just go over really, really quick. Master at Arms, Ironclad, Duelist Rebuff, and Untamed Aggression. And then the red tree... Fortified, Juggernaut, Sustained by Suffering, and Pain's Refuge. So, yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed the gameplay. And, as always, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think down below. And I'll be posting more gameplay soon. I really, 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 really like this Magpar. So, comment, like, and maybe even subscribe and turn my notifications on to never miss an upload. Thanks a lot. Have a good one. Love it, guys.